So we're here talking about Hyperdocs, which is a phenomenal resource for both teachers and students. And really, when we talk about Hyperdocs, we are talking about lesson design. So some people get Hyperdocs confused with a Google Doc that has a bunch of links in it. That's just a doc with links. But a Hyperdoc is when you are using that now as a resource for something that is personalized to the students. It transforms. It helps them use their creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and all of that through accessing resources to come back and create a product that then they share. So it's a way to engage students. Hyperdocs can be used synchronously in the classroom where everyone is working at similar paces, or they can be used during distance learning as an asynchronous learning tool as well. So throughout today, I'm going to show you a bunch of different resources, a bunch of different templates and things. And the Hyperdocs ladies, Lisa, Kelly, and Sarah, also have a really cool special announcement today at 4 p.m. So those of you that are watching live are going to get kind of a sneak preview, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes when we get over to that part. So really, when we're working with Hyperdocs, we have to always start with our why. In any good lesson design, we really start with what is the learning target for this lesson? What do we want our students to know by the end? What do we want them to be able to do? What skills and concepts do we want them to have mastery of or start to build at the end of this lesson? Hyperdocs can take a day, a class period. Hyperdocs can also take a week or longer if it's a longer term project. They're flexible, but really, again, focusing on that solid lesson design that engages our students and empowers them to think critically and collaborate with each other. There are so many templates out there, so I'm going to unproject this and show you just what's out there with Hyperdocs, so you have an idea of where you can go to get started. So the template library on the Hyperdocs website, this is where the special announcement, and they fixed it, comes into play because they just transferred their website over last night. So I opened this up this morning and it looked all different. So I think that's really exciting that they're really pushing new things out. So hyperdocs.co, and I'll drop the website in the chat for you to get access to all that. So if you go to hyperdocs.co, it'll take you to the Hyperdocs website. And this is where you can find tons and tons and tons of resources with Hyperdocs. This is all created by teachers. It's all free. And so really looking at, how to design and how to build these. In the Find option up at the top menu, there's an option for templates, and that's where I always get started. I almost never start a Hyperdoc from scratch because I love their templates. So for example, if we want to look at this basic Hyperdoc lesson template, I'll click on it and it'll open up in a Google Doc. You can take a look at it, make a copy. Now my internet is thinking pretty hard. There we go. So it already has instructions ready to go. And it gives you an order for engage, explore, explain, apply, share, reflect, and extend, which is a really easy lesson model to start thinking about how you can curate resources for students and design learning experiences for them, especially in distance learning, and having all the learning in a single place for your students to get started. So that's one example of a template. If you are a science teacher, I really like the 5E lesson model because a lot of our science lessons are built around the 5E lesson model anyway. Even if you're not a science teacher, it's a pretty solid lesson design model, starting with an engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So those are some really cool ways to begin your Hyperdocs journey. And I really love that in each box they have kind of an explanation of what phase of the learning would happen there. So for example, in Engage, like what kinds of activities might we do? Okay, a whole group activity. If we're asynchronous, so during distance learning, then I might throw in a video with some sort of response for them to answer. In a collaborative way or in a group way, so maybe watch a video and share to Padlet so they can see each other's responses, etc. So really modeling these off onto other people or onto making these so that students can see each other's answers and still collaborate even if they're doing it at different times in different places and at different rates. So that's the templates section of the Hyperdocs website. If you've been on it previously, you'll notice that it does look different because they launched the new website this morning. And so it's really, really rad. So I'm going to